He made his name as a pitchman, but right now more and more Americans aren't buying what Donald Trump is selling, and neither are those closest to him. The president says that there is no inflation. That is not true. He insists the prices are down. They're not. He promises that polls are showing unhappy Americans are fake, and obviously those are not. But his own vice president and one of his advisors acknowledge what Trump refuses to, which is that the economy is not all that great, and the feelings of Americans are very much real.
My message to the American people who are still feeling like things are unaffordable, who are still feeling like things are rough out there is look, we get it and we hear you. Even though we've made incredible progress, we understand that there's a lot more work to do. And the thing that I'd ask for the American people is a little bit of patience. This economy was not harmed in 10 months.
People are still feeling significant pain in the inflation area. And the last thing we want to be doing is to tell people things are getting better when they're feeling
did
pain.
Did the White House and people sell the golden age too early? That the golden age is coming, but there's a lot of
We have gotten the memo.
Justin Wolfers joins us at the table. You know, the most interesting thing about those two clips is that one of them happened at Breitbart, the other one happened with Steve Bannon. They are preaching to the choir and trying to convince folks in the church that things are going great. And I think that is the biggest red flag, that things are not going so great.
Yeah, so tell one story in front of your mates and a completely different story to the rest of America. The completely different story, the president hasn't stopped, prices are going down, he says. Every single one of us who's watched us knows the opposite. We go to stores. I'm a nerd. I'm an economist. I can tell you. We collect data. Everything the president has been saying about this is a lie, but behind closed doors, it seems like his colleagues are telling a different story. And
they're rolling back the tariffs. It's as simple as that. I mean, I think if they're rolling back some of the tariffs, that's a sign that they understand the tariffs are not helpful.
Look, what I will say is that under the Biden administration, we saw two really bad things happen. Purchasing power for Americans on average fell by $2,900. That means that wages didn't grow, or that inflation grew faster than inflation for that year. But what we're seeing what we also saw under Biden was that mortgage rates went up by 425 basis points. Americans were paying an average of over $1,200 more per month for their mortgage under Joe Biden. What we're seeing now under President Trump is not perfect. It's not great. It's not the end, but it's starting to recede. What they've actually seen now is that real wage growth has exceeded inflation by $700. So we got about a third of that back. But also mortgage rates are going down. I think they've gone down by 70 basis points. So now there's still a long way to go, but there is progress being made. It's not perfect. We're not done. And Americans are still hurting, and they're growing impatient because they've been hurt so badly. But what President Trump is actually trying to do is he's trying to reform the entire economy. Instead of being about just big corporations only, to being about working families. And I think that that's what his agenda represents. Agree or disagree. I mean, that's what he's working towards. And there's going to be some bumps in the road.
He's rolling back the tariffs, some of them. And if he thought that this was all great, I don't think we would be seeing them doing that.
It's a remarkable admission, right? I tried a policy. Oh, and everyone tells me I want the cost of living to be lower, let me reverse it. The only implication is that he's learned what I will tell you, the 18-year-olds at the University of Michigan learn in Econ 101, which is tariffs raise prices.
I was going to say, at the onset of his presidency and he's talking about tariffs, what was your first thought? Just your forecast right away. Were you like, this is going to help the economy?
I was certainly not of the view that this was a fellow who'd done well in his own Econ 101 classes. And it wasn't me. What you saw was every Wall Street economist marked down their forecast for the future of the economy. I think you're really onto something. What is the governing principle here? You said something about, it's not just for big business. I think that's exactly upside down and exactly wrong.
Yeah.
The president loves to call big business.
Yeah.
He brings them in. Tim Apple brings in a big gold bauble. Yeah. The guys bring in a Rolex and he chats to them. It's perfect. If I were a pure free market guy, what I would think is great is if the president knew no one's name, didn't know the name of any CEO, because the idea of free markets, the idea that Reagan was in favour of, was we set the rules, you guys go out there and compete. Instead, what the president's doing is he's putting a thumb on the scale here, a thumb on the scale there, and if you walk in on the wrong day, you might walk out with 10% less of your company as well.
And he seems very concerned about making sure that they show up at the White House for his very fancy dinners. And they're happy to do it because they know that if they show up, they'll get more favors from the administration, which again is kind of counter to the sort of we are going to be working for you, working man.
I think it is the reason why we have seen his numbers go in reverse. We know the economy and people's disapproval of his handling is driving that. But I think even more so, he has done a 180 on the promise that brought him here. I think there was a working class, inroads he made with some of those voters off the promise he would present a different type of GOP economic vision. The big bill still amounts to a larger wealth transfer. We still see him making those carve-outs for individual CEOs and companies. And I think the SNAP benefits are still on the line. I mean, that through line, in my opinion, has caused a causational relationship with the economy that Trump has made. Yeah. He cannot make the argument that this is Biden's economy because tariffs cut through. He has no one except himself to blame
to your point, Americans.
But Tim Apple, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, but he said Tim Apple. No, he called him Tim Apple, which I love.
It's a funny.
I get it.
But when it's the actual equivalent of people complaining about the Democrats having too many celebrities. Like if you remember that was the complaint. Why are you marching out all these celebrities during your campaign? They don't really affect and or have any kind of say. You're doing the opposite. You're turning the American people off. Tim Apple, absolutely. People are starting to see that. His name is not Tim Apple. It's a joke. But you get. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. One last
Can I
thing.
pick up on Tim Apple because I think it's a big deal. That company, Apple, used to be two blokes in a garage.
Yeah.
Two blokes in a garage founded an amazing company. Two blokes in a garage can't call a White House. The big behemoths can. So the two blokes in a garage, which is the future of American innovation, it now is at an enormous disadvantage.
So he's supposed to turn down a meeting with Tim Cook?
Listen, I don't think anybody's saying that, but it's about relatively who is he acting on behalf of, and it seems very much that he's acting on behalf of those folks. I just want to say, who is responsible for the current economic conditions? 62% say Donald Trump in a new Fox poll. It's not even really close. They are over Joe Biden, if you want to put it that way.